Roddy, Commercial Director, Codec. John is a motivated IT professional with over 25 years experience in various roles. He's a proven leader with the ability to turn the dial to positively impact revenue and profit growth, strategy and direction. He's a firm believer that technology can change the way we live, work and play for the better. His specialities include strategy, enterprise performance management, business intelligence, support and consulting services, cloud services, and application modernization. John, you're going to speak to us this morning about using Microsoft Cloud to innovate and deliver better business outcomes.
I think we're good to go. So thanks for the introduction. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm going to, first of all, just waiting for my slides to pop up. There we go. So by way of an agenda, brief introduction to myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about Codec. Won't spend too much time on that. Just give you a brief overview of who we are. And then I'm going to talk about what we've done with the Microsoft Cloud to really help our customers over the last number of months. I'm going to focus in on a couple of examples. It won't be too technical. I have some customer examples, and then obviously I'm sticking around for the Q&A session at the end. So if you'll just indulge me for a few minutes, I just want to talk about Codec, who we are. We are a privately owned IT company based on the island of Ireland, headquartered here in Dublin. Established in 1985, we've offices in Belfast, Cork, Galway, London, Cologne and Poland as well. Revenues in excess of 30 million, 240 plus employees, and we're an award-winning Microsoft practice. We've over 35 years of industry know-how across various different sectors, including retail, manufacturing, food and beverage, obviously public sector as well, and aviation and many other utilities. And over those 35 years, we've gained not just what you'd expect from an IT company in terms of technology know-how, but obviously we understand business as well. And I think our unique selling point here in Codec is that we kind of marry business and technology. So, for example, our ERP practice lead, technical practice lead, is a qualified accountant. So he understands finance. He understands the technology that we talk to our customers about as well. For those who don't know Codec, I always like to put up just what gets us out of bed in the morning. We are very big on culture within Codec. This slide came from a survey we did last year. We're predominantly a technical organization, and this was the output of that. So what we wanted to do as an organization was to challenge each other and to be challenged. We wanted to obviously grow, but very importantly, we wanted to enjoy what we did. We wanted to work on the most exciting and innovative projects. And because we know more about the Microsoft full suite of products, that we can do more for our customers as well. So that's just a brief intro to us as an organization. When I talk about full suite solutions, this slide hopefully encapsulates what I mean. We talk about various different Microsoft products that enable remote working and change management and collaboration and productivity, underpinned by the Microsoft Cloud and our ability to implement those solutions. We're very big on governance, we're very big on quality, and we're very big on security as well. So that's just a backdrop, I suppose, to who we are. So I suppose into the body of what I really wanted to talk about is what we have been doing with customers over the last number of years, and hopefully some of the stuff I talk about will resonate with the audience today. The title of my discussion is using the Microsoft Cloud to innovate and deliver better business outcomes for organizations. So, everyone has heard about digital transformation and what the goal of digital transformation is to make businesses relevant in a digital era while growing opportunities and profits, as well as scaling efficiencies in the process. And we were all probably bombarded with the term digital transformation over the last number of years. And for us in Codec, we see organizations as entering the fourth era of IT. So if you look at this particular slide, really what it's saying is that its digital transformation is becoming, had become and was becoming very critical to organizations over the last number of years. When I talk about the fourth industrial revolution, I'm often asked what that means. The first was around water and steam back in the 1800s. The second was around electricity. The third was around IT systems and being able to automate production lines. And then the fourth is all about innovation, the Internet of Things, cloud, and efficiencies and automation as well. So that's what I mean when I mention the fourth era of IT, the fourth industrial revolution. Prior to COVID, 78% of CIOs said the cloud was critical to their IT strategy, and 76% of all businesses surveyed were planning to move to the cloud in the next maybe 3 to 5 years. Yeah, it's something that I know I have to do, but it's not top of my list at the moment. And then this happened, and I suppose for a period of time we all scrambled. We weren't sure how we were going to continue, what we were going to do, what the logistics was going to be for our organizations, and how we were going to navigate those troubled waters around COVID. Fear was an overriding factor for people, and sustainability as well. But in terms of digital transformation, it really expedited that. So 80% of all organizations and business owners are now moving digital transformation, and it's becoming much more urgent than it had done previously to the global pandemic. So even organizations that had started on their journey have started to move quicker for various different reasons. So today, as businesses, and I suppose as people as well, we need to fundamentally rethink and change how we operate. And organizations that are successful in navigating these changes, they all have one thing in common, in my experience in dealing with them over the last number of months. And the word resilience is really a cornerstone of what I want to talk about today. This means strengthening resilience across your people, teams, and your organization as a whole. So when you do a search on the word resilience, these are the I suppose the outputs that jump back. People talk about change, capacity, recovery, mitigating risks, ability, etc., etc. I found one quote: "The ability of people or things to recover quickly after something unpleasant, such as a shock or injury, etc." And for me, that's kind of what we're all in the middle of at the moment. And from a perspective of how we move forward, we're all on a journey. And in terms of how we respond to the crisis, and no two organizations will look alike. Obviously, the most important thing is employee safety and ensuring business continuity. They're the immediate priorities for all of us. But as we move from the response to the recovery phase, we should focus on adjusting, I suppose, to the new realities on the ground. What is, as I'm looking through my recovery and moving in my response phase and then moving towards recovery, what can I do now that's going to really help? And when I talk to customers, I kind of present in this format, as I call it, the 3 R's. So the respond, recover, and reimagine phases around market conditions. So responding is when countries went into lockdown to flatten the curve. So obviously ensuring business continuity and employee safety was number one, and tackling immediate priorities to keep employees safe and obviously to stay in business. We found this particular challenge with lots of our organizations that really hadn't been used to working remotely, hadn't really got an online presence, and needed kind of urgent assistance. And I'll talk a little bit about what we did in that initial respond phase. And then as we moved into the recovery phase, where things started to open up again, organizations needed to prepare to restart and rebound and be ready to grow. into the right markets, obviously at the right time. And there was various other areas that needed focus on that. You know, we're kind of hovering between respond and recover phase. But then, most importantly, as we're looking to respond and recover, what does good look like in the future? You know, how can I future-proof my organization to ensure that other changes in the economy or pandemics or global events that are going to have an impact on my business? How can I strengthen my resolve? How can I make sure that my people, my organization, and my processes, and indeed my technology are future-proofed? So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But when I talk about resilience, this was a survey done by Boston Consultant. It was commissioned by Microsoft, and I think, you know, it takes away a lot of the noise around technology. And thriving in the face of resilience, they talk about requires resilience across 6 key dimensions. So as you transform, it's critical that you strengthen resilience across all areas of your organization. So obviously, protecting and growing the top line, rapidly identifying and responding to changing customer needs with data-driven marketing, sales, and pricing. Both David and Lorraine have spoke in detail in the previous presentations around that. Developing an agile organization, really important one is enabling people. You know, it's a change for us as business leaders. It's a change for our employees, and enabling and empowering our employees to work more efficiently. Accelerating data and digital platforms. David again talked in some detail about that in the previous presentation. Really important one is enhancing cybersecurity. You know, there's a multitude of different reports out that suggest that, you know, over the last number of months that is something that organizations of all size and scale need to focus on. And obviously, strengthening financials in this current environment is top of mind for all of us in business. So how do you strengthen resilience? And COVID-19 has obviously increased cost pressures for all of us in various different sectors. And given the constraints that's bringing on us, you know, the Boston Consulting Group come up with this 3-step approach to prioritization in terms of what we should do. Number one is, where do we address immediate imperatives that will help us prioritize and respond to the lockdown, such as keeping employees safe, ensuring continuity of sales and operations. The second one is, what's your resilience ambition? So what do I mean by that is, in relation to COVID-19 and in your sector, what do you expect to be the digital disruption, and what do you need to prepare for, and prioritizing those in terms of resilience and where your ambition is. And look, the last point is, you know, as we move forward, is where should we invest to build sustainable resilience in the future as organizations? So the questions I pose to customers is like, where are you in terms of maturity and the target state of those 6 resilience dimensions that I previously talked about? Typically in organizations, there are 3, I suppose, dimension. Those dimensions are pretty much seen under 3 kind of pillars: exposed, something that we need to look at straight away; viable; and future ready. And at a minimum, organizations should be viable among those key 6 resilience dimensions before they even look at future ready. And once an organization is viable, it can build towards that ambition to become future ready. And to bring that to life, if we look at this particular slide in detail, it gives an example of the 6 dimensions on the top. And before we move from exposed, before we move to our future state, we need to make sure that we are at least viable across each of those dimensions. So one example that's probably relevant to this conversation is that an organization in this particular example is exposed due to limited online and remote sales and marketing using simple targeting without real automation. making that as an exposed dimension, making that viable, offering multi-channel offerings, and remotely enabled employees, and making decisions based on data, addressing those key exposed issues across not just growing the top line and protecting it, but also across developing agile operations, enabling people, accelerating data and digital platforms, enhancing security and strengthening our financials. It's a really good, I suppose, template to use when you're looking at your own organization, applying your own sector, your own challenges to that, and identifying, I suppose, where you should start. When we talk about how Microsoft is responding to that, Microsoft is one of those organizations that offer solutions that are integrated, that people are familiar with. All of us are familiar with Microsoft solutions, be they Office, be they marketing, be they cloud solutions, but we all use Office in our daily lives, from Excel, Word, email, etc. They come with built-in security, so you don't need to be a security expert if you're using the correct Microsoft tools. And they differentiate value in terms of lower cost of ownership across the full suite of Microsoft products. They integrate seamlessly with each other as well. And when we talk about technologies like IoT, machine learning, predictive analytics, they probably conjure up for most of us really expensive, difficult to implement, and really just for the big players. That's not an area that I need to focus on. But with Microsoft, the Microsoft full suite, whether you're a one or two or employee organization or an organization that has thousands of employees, if you subscribe to the Microsoft services, you get that same level of access as the multinationals get. And in terms of enabling that and switching it on, it's pretty incredible what you can get now in terms of the capabilities from the Microsoft cloud. And Microsoft themselves and Codec have worked very closely with organizations over the last number of months, organizations that really hadn't been able to pivot to working remotely, that were probably always office-based, and helping them use products like Teams to collaborate, to share content, to work, to do video calls, to do messaging, to help organizations. Even enhancing, data has become really important. We've seen a lot of customers look at data analytics and artificial intelligence. Organizations like OnPost, organizations like the NTA, that are really seeing data as a really precious commodity in this time, looking at scenario planning and modeling for their business to see what future states look like as well. So we've had, I suppose, we've looked at it in various different phases. From a Codec perspective, where there was the initial, we need to respond to this. We need to make sure our employees are safe. We need to ensure that the business can continue. What technologies can be used to do that? What can we do right now? What do we need to address to make our exposed vulnerabilities bedded in and secure before we move to how we can enhance those across those 6 dimensions we talked about? Microsoft, across those 6 dimensions, have technologies that address that. You can really start wherever you want in relation to that, depending on what's front of mind. If security is front of mind, if enhancing applications is front of mind, if connecting with your customers is front of mind, if understanding what data and analytics can bring to your organization, and not to think that those technologies are for larger organizations. They're available now. They're available out of the box for organizations. And Microsoft have, if you checked out the Codec website, codec.ie, our LinkedIn page, you'll see, and obviously Microsoft Ireland's website as well, where you can see where they're enabling customers with trials of this technology, making them free and available to organizations to help them during COVID. And Codec have done our bit as well, where we've developed applications to help organizations get back to work when that time does come eventually over the next number of weeks again. That's a free app that's available in the App Store from Microsoft that's been developed by Codec that assists as well. So we've seen a lot of that in the IT community in Ireland, where we've come together as Microsoft partners and helped organizations, weather the COVID storm, I suppose. My key message is that Microsoft solutions can quickly help you build capabilities that they can help protect and grow your top line. They can help develop agile operations. Really important is enabling employees and using data as a really important resource that a lot of us don't mine as organizations, but it's really, really important. Accelerating data and digital platforms, making them simplified, making them cost effective and flexible. I can't emphasize enough how cybersecurity is definitely something that you need to look at. And then using other different technologies to help strengthen financials as well. So what does it mean when we tether the word resilience to our thought process? Well, it means increased agility. It means productivity increases in the region of 20 to 30%. It means stability with fewer IT areas and less rework, IT errors and less rework, and bottom line performance increases of between 12 and 20% in additional earnings before interest and taxes. Just to wrap up, I kind of pulled together some examples of organizations that really needed to embrace this. I thought the Toyota one was really interesting in terms of giving employees the ability to streamline how they do their day-to-day work, developing specific applications for them. 400 apps were developed by employees who aren't technical, and no-code, low-code development that saved over 100,000 paper sheets with digitized processes as well. So I'm being told to wrap up. We're tight on time, but in summary, thank you for listening. I'm sticking around for the Q&A. Be resilient and please stay safe.